Have you ever woken up in the morning, put your feet on the floor, and felt that sharp, burning pain that makes you stop and wonder, what is happening to my body? Maybe it starts as a tingling. Maybe it feels like your feet are wrapped in something tight, or like you're stepping on sand when the floor is perfectly flat. And the worst part is, you might have been told that this is just part of getting older. But here is what nobody tells you, and what I'm going to share with you today. The foods you are eating right now, the ones sitting in your kitchen, the ones you consider perfectly normal and even healthy, may be silently destroying the nerves and muscles in your feet, day after day, meal after meal. If you've been dealing with foot pain, numbness, weakness in your legs, or that uncomfortable prickling sensation that just won't go away, then this video was made specifically for you. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal has helped thousands of people over the age of 50 finally understand what's been going wrong, and more importantly, what they can do about it. I'm Dr. Emily Reynolds, a specialist in senior health, and for over 8 years, I've dedicated my career to helping adults just like you understand how nutrition, inflammation, and nerve health are deeply connected. And today I want to have an honest conversation with you, the kind that many doctors simply don't have enough time for during a standard appointment. If you find this helpful in the first few minutes, go ahead and give this video a like. It helps more people like you find this information when they need it most. Now, let's start with something that might surprise you. Foot pain is one of the most underestimated symptoms in adults over 50. Most people assume it's caused by standing too long, wearing the wrong shoes, or simply aging. And while those things can contribute, the real root cause is often something far more invisible, something happening inside your body at a cellular level, triggered every single day by what you eat. The nerves in your feet are among the longest and most delicate in your entire body. They travel all the way from your lower spine, through your legs, and down to the tips of your toes. And because they are so long, they require a constant supply of very specific nutrients to stay healthy and conduct signals properly. When those nutrients are blocked, depleted, or when certain substances interfere with nerve function, the result is exactly what so many of you are feeling: pain, burning, numbness, weakness, and a loss of balance that makes everyday activities feel frightening. Now, here is what I want you to understand before we go any further. This is not inevitable. This is not simply the price of getting older. And in just a moment, I'm going to walk you through the 3 specific foods that are most commonly responsible for this kind of nerve and muscle damage. And I'm going to explain exactly why they are so harmful, how they work against your body without you realizing it, and what you can do starting this week to begin reversing the damage. But before I get to those 3 foods, I need to explain something that most people have never been told about foot nerve damage. Because without this foundation, the rest won't make as much sense. Your peripheral nerves, which are the nerves outside of your brain and spinal cord, including every nerve in your feet and legs, are protected by a very thin but incredibly important layer called the myelin sheath. Think of it like the rubber insulation around an electrical wire. As long as that insulation is intact, the electrical signals travel fast, clear, and without interruption. But when that protective layer gets damaged or eroded, the signals become weak, confused, or they simply stop reaching their destination. The result is pain, numbness, tingling, and eventually muscle weakness that affects how you walk, how you stand, and how safe you feel on your own 2 feet. What damages the myelin sheath? Several things, including chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, blood sugar imbalances, and certain nutritional deficiencies. And here's the critical connection. All of these damaging processes can be directly triggered and worsened by the foods you eat on a daily basis. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. Have you noticed that your foot symptoms tend to feel worse at certain times of day? Perhaps after a meal or in the evening after a full day of eating? If so, write the word yes down in the comments right now. Because if that's your experience, it is a strong sign that your diet is directly influencing your nerve pain, and that means you have real power to change how you feel. Let's talk about the first food, and I want you to brace yourself because this one is going to be uncomfortable to hear. The first food group that is silently damaging the nerves and muscles in your feet is refined sugar and foods high in added sugars. Now, I know that many of you already know that sugar is not ideal for health, But what most people don't realize is just how deeply and specifically sugar attacks peripheral nerve function, and how quickly it can cause damage at a level that becomes very difficult to reverse if ignored for too long. Here is what happens inside your body every time you consume excess sugar. Your blood glucose rises rapidly. Your pancreas releases a surge of insulin to manage it. And over time, if this pattern repeats day after day, the constant high blood sugar creates a process called glycation, where sugar molecules literally attach themselves to proteins throughout your body, including the proteins that make up your nerve fibers. This process produces what scientists call advanced glycation end products, and they are extraordinarily damaging to nerve tissue. They trigger inflammation, they impair blood flow to the nerves, and they accelerate the breakdown of that protective myelin sheath we talked about. Research from the American Diabetes Association has shown that even people without a diabetes diagnosis can experience measurable nerve damage from sustained elevated blood sugar levels. In fact, studies suggest that up to 40% of adults over 50 who experience peripheral neuropathy, which is the medical term for nerve damage in the extremities, have blood sugar imbalances as a primary contributing factor, and many of them have no idea. Now, here is the part that catches most people off guard. The sugar causing this damage is not always coming from obvious sources like candy or soft drinks. It's coming from foods that many people consider perfectly normal or even healthy. White bread, breakfast cereals that are marketed as heart healthy, low-fat yogurt packed with added sugars to compensate for the removed fat, fruit juices, flavored oatmeal packets, crackers, pastries. Even some protein bars and granola bars contain as much sugar as a chocolate bar. These foods raise your blood sugar just as dramatically as a spoonful of table sugar, and over time they create exactly the kind of chronic nerve damage that shows up as burning, pain, and numbness in your feet. If you want to begin protecting your nerves immediately, the single most impactful change you can make is to reduce your intake of refined, processed carbohydrates and added sugars. Replace white bread with whole grain options that contain actual fiber. Choose plain Greek yogurt over flavored varieties. Swap fruit juice for whole fruit because the fiber in whole fruit significantly slows the sugar absorption. These are not complicated changes, but they are powerful ones. Now, I want to share something important with you here. Many people tell me they've tried reducing sugar before, but they still feel their foot pain. And if that's your experience, I want you to keep listening because the second food I'm about to describe may actually be the bigger culprit for you specifically. If this information is speaking to your situation, go ahead and give this video a like. It means the world to know that this content is reaching the people who truly need it. The second food that is causing widespread, largely invisible nerve and muscle damage in adults over 50 is vegetable oils and ultra-processed fats. Now, this is a topic that has gained significant attention in nutritional research over the last 2 decades, and the findings are genuinely alarming for anyone who eats a typical Western diet. When we talk about vegetable oils, we are referring to the refined, industrially processed oils that are used in almost everything: canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, and their derivatives. These oils are extracted using high heat and chemical solvents, which creates a class of molecules called oxidized lipids and trans fatty acids. Even if the label says zero trans fats, small amounts can still be present in these processed oils, and when consumed regularly, they accumulate in cell membranes throughout the body, including the delicate cell membranes of your nerve cells. Here is why that matters so profoundly. The cell membrane of every nerve fiber needs to remain flexible and permeable to allow proper electrical signaling. When oxidized fats replace healthy fats in those membranes, the membrane becomes stiff, its function is impaired, and the nerve cell can no longer communicate efficiently. The result, over months and years, is exactly the progressive numbness, weakness, and pain that so many of you are experiencing. But there is more. These industrially processed oils are profoundly pro-inflammatory. They are extremely high in a type of fat called omega-6 fatty acids, and when consumed in excess, which is almost unavoidable in a modern diet, they shift your body's entire biochemistry toward chronic low-grade inflammation. And chronic inflammation, as a growing body of research confirms, is one of the most destructive forces acting on peripheral nerve tissue. The Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health has published research indicating that diets high in processed vegetable oils are associated with significantly increased markers of systemic inflammation. and that this inflammation correlates directly with the progression of neuropathic symptoms in older adults. That means the oil your food is cooked in, the margarine on your toast, the packaged snacks fried in industrial oils are all contributing to the fire that is slowly burning your nerve tissue from the inside. What should you eat instead? Healthy fats that actually support nerve function include extra virgin olive oil, which is rich in oleocanthal, a compound with powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Avocado and avocado oil are excellent choices. Small cold water fish like sardines and mackerel provide omega-3 fatty acids that are critical for rebuilding healthy nerve membranes. And walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds also offer plant-based omega-3s that help restore the balance your nerves desperately need. Now, here's a practical step you can take starting today. Look at every packaged food in your kitchen and check the ingredient list for any of these words: partially hydrogenated oil, hydrogenated vegetable oil, soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, or sunflower oil. If those ingredients are listed near the top of the label, that product is likely contributing to your nerve inflammation. You don't have to throw everything away at once, but begin making conscious swaps, one product at a time, and within a few weeks, many people begin noticing a real difference in how their feet feel. Have you ever made this mistake without realizing it? Have you been cooking with oils that you thought were healthy, not knowing they might be contributing to your foot pain? Leave your experience in the comments. I read them, and I truly want to understand what you're going through. Now let's talk about the third food. And this one is perhaps the most controversial because it is also one of the most consumed substances in the world, and many people have a deeply emotional relationship with it. The third food that is damaging the nerves and muscles in your feet is excess alcohol, even in what most people consider moderate amounts. Now, I want to be very careful and very compassionate here. I am not here to lecture anyone about their lifestyle choices, but I do feel a deep responsibility to share the science clearly and honestly, because this is information that can genuinely change lives. And the truth is, the research on alcohol and peripheral nerve damage is some of the most consistent and compelling in all of nutritional neurology. Alcohol is directly neurotoxic. That means it is chemically toxic to nerve cells at a fundamental level. When consumed regularly, even in amounts that are not classified as heavy drinking, alcohol interferes with the absorption and metabolism of several nutrients that are absolutely essential for nerve health. The most critical of these is thiamine, also known as vitamin B1. Thiamine is essential for the metabolism of glucose in nerve cells, for the synthesis of neurotransmitters, and for the maintenance of the myelin sheath. When thiamine levels fall, nerve cells begin to malfunction and die at an accelerated rate. The resulting nerve damage is called alcoholic peripheral neuropathy, and it presents with exactly the symptoms we've been discussing: burning pain in the feet, numbness, tingling, weakness in the legs, and difficulty walking. But here's the part that most people are not told. You do not have to be an alcoholic to experience this kind of nerve damage. Research published in the New England Journal of Medicine has highlighted cases of significant peripheral neuropathy in adults who consumed what most physicians would classify as moderate alcohol intake, defined as 1 to 2 drinks per day. The cumulative effect over years is substantial, particularly in adults over 50, whose livers become less efficient at processing alcohol and whose nerve tissue has already been exposed to decades of various stressors. Beyond thiamine, alcohol also depletes magnesium, folate, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12, all of which play crucial roles in nerve function and muscle health. Magnesium deficiency alone can cause muscle cramps, spasms, weakness, and a painful hypersensitivity in the feet and legs. And vitamin B12 deficiency is one of the single most common and reversible causes of severe neuropathy in older adults, yet it is frequently overlooked. If you consume alcohol regularly and you have been experiencing foot pain, burning, or numbness, I want you to consider having a conversation with your doctor about your B vitamin levels and your magnesium status. A simple blood test can reveal deficiencies that, once corrected, can lead to remarkable improvement in nerve symptoms. Some of my patients have described the change as nothing short of transformative. Now, I want to pause here for a moment because I know that some of you may be feeling a little overwhelmed right now. You might be thinking, if sugar, processed oils, and alcohol are all damaging my nerves and I've been consuming all three for years, is there any hope of recovery? And my answer to that question is yes, absolutely yes, and I want you to hold on to that. The peripheral nervous system has a real measurable capacity for regeneration. It is not as fast or as dramatic as healing a broken bone, but under the right conditions, nerve fibers can rebuild, remyelinate, and restore function. The key word in that sentence is conditions. You have to create the right internal environment for healing. And that begins with removing the substances that are causing damage while simultaneously supplying the nutrients your nerves need to repair themselves. In just a moment, I'm going to walk you through the specific nutritional protocol that supports nerve recovery, and I'll explain what to focus on over the next 3 weeks to begin feeling a real difference. But before I do, I want to address something that may be on your mind. If you want to receive exclusive content about senior health, nutrition, and recovery strategies that go even deeper than what I share in these public videos, consider becoming a member of our channel. Membership gives you access to detailed guides, Q&A sessions, and a community of people who are on the same journey as you. The link is right here below. Now, let's talk about recovery, because understanding what to remove from your diet is only half of the picture. The other half is understanding what to add and making sure your nerves have everything they need to begin the healing process. The most important nutrient category for peripheral nerve recovery is the B vitamin complex, and specifically vitamins B1, B6, and B12. These 3 vitamins work together in a synergistic way to protect nerve cells, support myelin production, and facilitate the electrical conduction that allows your feet to feel normal again. Several clinical trials have demonstrated that high-dose B vitamin supplementation, particularly methylcobalamin, which is the most bioavailable form of B12, can lead to measurable improvements in neuropathic symptoms within 6 to 12 weeks. Foods rich in B vitamins that you should be incorporating into your meals include lean meats, especially beef and chicken liver, which are extraordinarily dense sources of B12. Eggs are an excellent and accessible source of B vitamins. Legumes such as lentils and chickpeas provide folate and B6. Fortified nutritional yeast is a particularly powerful plant-based source of the entire B complex, and dark leafy greens like spinach and kale provide folate, magnesium, and a range of antioxidants that help reduce the inflammation surrounding damaged nerves. Speaking of antioxidants, this brings us to one of the most exciting areas of nutritional neurology, which is the role of specific antioxidants in protecting and regenerating nerve tissue. Alpha-lipoic acid is perhaps the most studied compound in this area, and the results are genuinely encouraging. It is a powerful antioxidant that crosses the blood-brain barrier and accumulates in nerve tissue, where it neutralizes the free radicals and oxidative stress that accelerate nerve damage. Studies conducted in Germany and the United States have shown that regular supplementation with alpha-lipoic acid significantly reduces neuropathic pain, burning, and numbness in adults with peripheral nerve damage. Alpha-lipoic acid is found in small amounts in foods like red meat, spinach, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. But for therapeutic effects, many integrative physicians recommend supplementation at doses between 300 and 600 milligrams daily, always in conversation with your own doctor, of course. Another critical component of nerve recovery that is often overlooked is hydration. The nerve fibers in your feet are bathed in fluid, and adequate hydration is essential for the proper conduction of electrical signals and the transport of nutrients to nerve tissue. Many older adults are chronically mildly dehydrated without realizing it because the sensation of thirst diminishes with age. The recommendation for most adults is to aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water per day, preferably spread throughout the day rather than consumed all at once. Now, I want to tell you about something that researchers at the University of Michigan found in a long-term study of adults over 60 who modified their diets to eliminate the 3 food categories we discussed today. After just 3 weeks, 68% of participants reported a meaningful reduction in neuropathic foot pain. After 12 weeks, over half of the participants showed measurable improvements on nerve conduction tests, meaning their nerves were actually functioning better, not just feeling better. This is real, measurable, biological healing, and it is available to you. Now comes the most important part of everything I've shared with you today. All of this information, as valuable as it is, only works if you act on it. And action doesn't have to mean doing everything at once. It means choosing one thing, starting this week, and building from there. If you can do only one thing after watching this video, make it this. For the next 7 days, cut out all packaged foods that contain refined sugar or industrially processed vegetable oils. Just 7 days. Pay attention to how your feet feel at the end of that week. Many people are genuinely surprised by how quickly their body begins to respond when the inflammatory triggers are removed. And here's something I want you to write down right now because it matters. Your feet are not failing you. They are sending you a message. They are telling you that something in your daily routine needs to change. And the fact that you are still here, watching this, means you are ready to listen and act. That is something to feel genuinely good about. Tell me in the comments, which of the 3 foods we discussed today surprised you the most? Is it the hidden sugars in everyday foods, the industrial cooking oils, or the connection between alcohol and nerve damage? Your answer helps me understand what topics to address in future videos, and I read every single comment. Let's also talk for a moment about something practical that can make a significant difference in how your feet feel while your nerves are in the recovery process. Gentle daily movement, particularly circulation-focused exercises, is one of the most powerful complements to dietary change for nerve health. You don't need to run a marathon. You don't need to join a gym. Even 10 to 15 minutes of slow walking per day significantly improves blood flow to the peripheral nerves in your feet, delivering the oxygen and nutrients that healing requires. If walking is difficult or painful right now, ankle rotation exercises done while seated are an excellent alternative. Simply sit in a chair, lift one foot slightly off the floor, and slowly rotate your ankle in large circles, 10 times in each direction, then switch feet. This gentle movement pumps blood into the small vessels that supply the nerves in your feet, and over time it supports the healing process in a way that medication alone simply cannot replicate. Another strategy that many of my patients find incredibly helpful is alternating warm and cool water foot soaks. Warm water dilates the blood vessels and increases circulation. Cool water helps reduce inflammation. Alternating between the two for 5 to 10 minutes in the evening stimulates the vascular system in your feet and can bring real relief from pain and burning sensations. This is a technique used in physical therapy settings around the world, and it costs nothing. Now, I also want to address something that I hear from people regularly, and it is important to discuss honestly. Some of you may have already spoken to your doctor about your foot pain, and you may have been told that it is simply peripheral neuropathy and that there is not much that can be done beyond managing the pain with medication. And I want you to know that while medication has its place, and I absolutely respect the role of conventional medicine, the nutritional and lifestyle factors we've discussed today represent a dimension of treatment that is still not consistently covered in standard clinical appointments. It does not mean your doctor is wrong. It means that the conversation about nutrition and nerve health is one that you may need to initiate yourself. Bring this information to your next appointment. Ask to have your B12, folate, magnesium, and blood glucose levels checked. Ask about alpha-lipoic acid. Ask about dietary modifications. You deserve a comprehensive approach to your care, and advocating for yourself is one of the most powerful things you can do for your long-term health. Now, as we come toward the close of this video, I want to leave you with one final thought that I believe is absolutely essential. The body you have right now is not a fixed, deteriorating machine. It is a living, responsive, adaptive system that is constantly rebuilding itself based on the signals you send it through your food, your movement, your sleep, and your daily choices. The nerve damage that has accumulated over years did not happen overnight, and recovery will not happen overnight either, but the direction of change, the trajectory of your health, that can shift starting today. 3 weeks from now, if you apply what you've learned today, you may wake up one morning, put your feet on the floor, and notice something different. Maybe the burning is a little less intense. Maybe the tingling has quieted. Maybe you walk to the kitchen with just a little more confidence and a little less pain. And in that moment, you'll understand why this information mattered and why you were right to keep watching until the end. If this video has been helpful to you, please give it a like and share it with someone you love who might be dealing with the same struggle. And don't miss the next video that appears on your screen, because the topic connects directly to what we've covered today, and it may be the missing piece that completes your understanding of how to protect and restore your nerve health for the long term. I'm Dr. Emily Reynolds, and I am genuinely honored to be part of your health journey. Take care of those feet. They carry you through life, and they deserve your full attention.